think she hates him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, so we can all
That's a
agree on
given.
that. I also think that she wants to take him out. She does not want to be the first lady.
As you may heard, I filed a few lawsuits and I'm in the court now because they accuse me of doing stuff that I never did in my life, and they wrote lies, and I will not allow that. I will fight till the end because I don't want that they damage my reputation and my name.
Once a daytime television staple, The View had long been celebrated for its vibrant mix of personalities and fearless approach to controversial topics. Over time, however, the show transformed into a pressure cooker where clashing viewpoints escalated into tension. No one could have anticipated how quickly this tension would erupt into full-blown chaos, triggered by a high-profile lawsuit that unfolded in just a matter of days. What had once been a reliable fixture of daytime TV revealed cracks, and even experienced producers and co-hosts struggled to contain the fallout. By the time the smoke cleared, it was clear the situation was about more than a single show. It exposed vulnerabilities in the media itself, and most prominently, the influence of one outspoken host, Sunny Hostin. At the center of the storm, production staff noticed a palpable shift. Conversations that were once lighthearted and jovial had turned guarded and tense. Everyone in the studio seemed to tread carefully, aware that one misstep could trigger a far bigger problem. Rumors began circulating about a lawsuit with serious ramifications, not just a minor grievance, but a high-stakes legal battle. The plaintiff, well-known and fiercely protective of their reputation, was connected to both industry and political circles, making the threat even more significant. This wasn't a skirmish, it was a potential upheaval. The first sign of trouble came on air when Sunny, known for her candid opinions and willingness to confront difficult issues, made a pointed comment. At first, it seemed like another routine clash, a hallmark of her fearless style. But as the discussion progressed, control slipped. The typical hum of the control room fell silent, a quiet testament to the tension in the air. Sunny's critique targeted someone notorious for guarding their public image, and reactions were immediate. Some viewers applauded her bravery and commitment to holding figures accountable, while others, particularly those invested in the person under scrutiny, were far less receptive. Being publicly challenged on live television is not taken lightly, and the backlash was swift. In the days that followed, the media erupted. Social media flooded with commentary as supporters hailed Sunny as a hero challenging authority, and detractors expressed outrage over her remarks. As the impending lawsuit loomed, threatening to undo much of what The View had built over the years, the intensity of the backlash grew. The controversy captured attention across the broadcast industry and the broader public, turning a routine segment into a scandal that dominated conversations nationwide. Reactions to Sunny's remarks were sharply divided. Some accused her of going too far, questioned the accuracy of her statements, and even claimed she had fabricated allegations. Others, however, praised her courage, applauding her willingness to confront what they saw as injustice. Behind the scenes, the atmosphere shifted noticeably. Crew members who normally observed Sunny's confident, quick-witted presence noticed a change. One day, she was upbeat and in command. The next, she appeared distracted, uneasy, and less focused. Her usual sharpness gave way to a palpable tension. The weight of the situation didn't just affect Sunny. Her co-host began exchanging cautious glances during segments, uncertain how far the dispute and the legal threats accompanying it might go. This incident stood apart from prior on-air conflicts because the potential for litigation was obvious and immediate. Sources close to the production reported that discussions of a lawsuit had begun circulating in the hallways, as Sunny's remarks had clearly offended a high-profile figure. The possible claim was substantial enough to shock network executives. Insiders suggested that both Sunny and the network could be named as defendants in an unprecedented case. While The View had faced lawsuits in the past, none had approached this scale. Even ABC's seasoned legal team recognized the seriousness of the situation, with figures that were startling enough to raise immediate concern. At first, Sunny appeared calm, drawing on her past experience navigating legal threats and the rough and tumble environment of live television. Yet over the following days, even her steady composure began to show cracks. The View had built its reputation by tackling contentious topics, testing boundaries, and trusting that its legal team would safeguard the program. The first concrete sign came in the form of an official letter from the plaintiff's attorneys. This was no social media rumor or tabloid exaggeration. It was a formal legal notice sent directly to ABC. Network insiders who reviewed the letter recognized immediately that this was far more than a warning. It was a tangible, serious threat. The looming threat of a lawsuit and the staggering potential costs sent waves of anxiety through the production team. The legal letter laid out specific allegations of defamation on The View, citing exact passages and transcripts. It demanded not only a public retraction, but also the possibility of substantial financial compensation. While disclaimers about opinions are standard practice in talk shows, a closer examination revealed that this was far more serious than the usual cautionary language. Producers quickly convened emergency meetings, and ABC's legal team meticulously reviewed every segment, word by word, looking for any sign of misrepresentation or editorial oversight. Off camera, the tension was almost tangible. The studio's usual warmth and camaraderie gave way to a more cautious, measured atmosphere. On screen, the show tried to maintain its familiar cheerfulness, with hosts discussing politics and celebrity news as if nothing had changed. But the undercurrent of unease was impossible to ignore. Some producers recalled moments when Sunny, in her signature, fiery style, had previously responded sharply to serious accusations, sometimes relying on questionable or unsupported facts. That intensity now carried an added weight. As the days went on, the anxiety around the studio became increasingly visible. Joy Behar, known for her humor, tried to lift spirits with her usual quips, but they landed flat, feeling strained and forced. Whoopi Goldberg, a steadying presence on the show, was particularly careful, steering clear of any comments that might be misinterpreted or inflame the situation. The crew collectively seemed to be holding their breath, uncertain of what would happen next in this unfolding legal drama. Everyone was clearly affected, yet no practical solution had emerged. Sarah Haynes, often the diplomat of the group, leaned on politeness and a cautious wait-and-see approach when discussing Sunny's remarks, reflecting the studio's tense and unsettled mood. As time passed, the pauses between episodes grew heavier and an unmistakable tension settled over the studio. The lawsuit was formally filed, complete with detailed claims and legal citations, delivering the blow that had been looming over the show. Court documents asserted that by making specific factual statements without sufficient evidence, Sunny Hostin and The View had caused lasting harm to the plaintiff's reputation. This was not a routine dispute. It was a full-scale legal assault that demanded the complete attention of everyone behind the scenes. The show's legal team moved quickly to draft a public response. After careful deliberation, ABC released a statement that was deliberately measured. It referenced matters of public interest, reaffirming the network's commitment to discussing such topics while subtly acknowledging the serious nature of the claims. Questions arose. Had the coverage crossed the line from bold reporting into genuinely risky territory? Once the lawsuit became public, the atmosphere in the studio intensified further. Reporters and photographers swarmed the building, desperate for updates or any revealing details. Cameras rolled as questions were shouted from the street, and co-hosts rushed from their cars into the dressing rooms, leaving no room for the usual calm before a broadcast. The quiet focus of production was replaced with high-pressure scrutiny, and negative media coverage prompted the network's business partners to become more cautious. Major advertisers, once eager to align themselves with the show, paused campaigns or withdrew entirely. Longtime sponsors pulled back, causing a significant financial strain that threatened the program's stability and even its continued existence. Amid the uncertainty, some staffers remained hopeful, reminding themselves and others that The View had weathered storms before and might find a way to recover once again. As the days wore on, executive reassurances became increasingly rare, replaced by urgent late-night meetings packed with lawyers and contingency plans. Longtime employees began to fear that The View itself might be on the brink of collapse. At the center of it all was Sunny Hostin. She tried to maintain the poise and confidence that had secured her a prominent role on the program, but the chaos surrounding her was impossible to ignore. The legal storm was taking its toll. Crew members noticed subtle but worrying signs. One day, Sunny was spotted near the makeup area, eyes glistening as if she might cry. Another day, she crouched in a hallway corner, speaking softly into her phone. Even producers who had long admired her courage began to wonder if they had underestimated the emotional strain she was under. The warning signs were clear. This was no ordinary legal matter. It had become a deeply personal crisis, affecting everyone involved. Producers and network officials worked tirelessly to stabilize the situation, trying to prevent a complete breakdown. ABC's legal team suggested that Sunny deliver a carefully crafted on-air statement, apologizing for any uncertainty her remarks may have caused. While such a move felt like it could betray the principles of the show, she understood that a public apology, whether heartfelt or strategic, might be the fastest way to quell the storm. Yet each time the idea was presented to her, she hesitated. The network hoped that an apology could reduce negative attention, but the legal team also recognized the risk. Any admission might be interpreted as accepting liability, strengthening the plaintiff's case. Meanwhile, producers quietly met with sponsors to reassure them and safeguard the program's fragile reputation, hoping to navigate the mounting pressure without losing the trust of advertisers or the audience. ABC's attempts to reassure sponsors that the network was carefully reviewing the complaint and committed to resolving the issues proved largely ineffective. Once a major automaker pulled its sponsorship, a domino effect began, with other advertisers quickly following suit. The show's funding rapidly eroded, putting its very future in jeopardy. Finally, the network stepped in. An internal memo announced that The View would be temporarily put on hold while ABC addressed the ongoing legal challenges. Though cautiously worded, many saw the memo as a harbinger of the program's potential permanent shutdown. The normally lively studio grew eerily quiet. Workstations and personal belongings were packed up, and many staff members said tearful goodbyes, uncertain what awaited them. Some hoped the pause was temporary, anticipating a return. However, news of the suspension quickly spread online. Within days, The View was formally canceled, with headlines in tabloids and mainstream news outlets highlighting the lawsuit as the decisive factor. Industry pundits debated how one legal challenge could topple a once dominant daytime program. While the show had long courted controversy to boost ratings, social media reactions suggested it had overstepped, alienating part of its audience. Some mourned the loss of a platform that, despite its flaws, had given women a voice and sparked lively, often heated discussions. Fans were particularly vocal in criticizing ABC for not backing Sunny Hostin more forcefully. They argued that the network abandoned the show's ethos of boldness when legal pressures arose. Amid extensive consultations with ABC's legal team, insiders revealed that Sunny faced scrutiny regarding whether she could be personally liable for the alleged harm caused by her remarks. Paparazzi captured her leaving the studio with her head down, avoiding cameras, which fueled speculation that she was emotionally overwhelmed and struggling with guilt over the consequences her actions might have had on colleagues' jobs. Her demeanor contrasted sharply with the confident, assertive personality audiences had come to expect. ABC issued a concise public statement explaining the cancellation, attributing it to a mix of ongoing legal complications and strategic programming considerations. While Sunny Hostin was not explicitly singled out, it was clear that the lawsuit and surrounding controversies played a central role in the show's demise. Major media outlets seized on the story, examining every angle. In the aftermath, industry observers questioned what this meant for other talk shows that relied on provocative opinions to attract viewers. Would co-hosts and producers take greater precautions in the future to shield themselves from similar legal repercussions? The most personal moments of the drama quickly became fodder for tabloids. One report focused on Sunny Hostin's final hours on the View set, accompanied by unverified footage, apparently shared by a staff member, showing her hugging a producer in the hallway, tears streaming down her face. The clip went viral almost immediately. Social media erupted under headlines like "Sunny Hostin's tearful goodbye," describing her carefully removing personal photos from her dressing room mirror, pausing to look around and visibly struggling to compose herself, a raw glimpse into her emotional state. Reactions were divided. Some mocked her, claiming she was playing the victim or exaggerating for sympathy. Others expressed empathy, noting how easily the pressures of high-stakes, contentious daytime television could push someone past their breaking point. Behind the scenes, Sunny and her legal team prepared for a protracted legal battle that threatened to consume months or even years of her career. Even after The View's cancellation, the legal fallout continued. Attorneys managed depositions and discussions to minimize further damage, keeping the details of the disputed statements confidential. Sunny's once active social media presence went mostly silent. Occasionally, she shared heartfelt throwbacks or highlighted humanitarian work, but she offered no updates on the lawsuit or the show's closure. Public curiosity about her next move only intensified. Entertainment reporters trying to reach her often received no response or only cryptic statements from her publicist. Despite the silence, it was clear that all eyes remained fixed on Sunny, eager to see how she would navigate the next chapter of her life. Speculation about Sunny Hostin's next steps ran rampant. Some believed she was quietly preparing for a second act, perhaps launching a podcast or web series to revive her career, while others thought she was deliberately staying silent to avoid inflaming the lawsuit or complicating matters further. Joy Behar expressed sorrow over how events unfolded but stopped short of placing blame. Whoopi Goldberg, in a brief statement, avoided addressing the legal specifics, though she voiced regret that the long-running show had ended so abruptly. It was clear that the legal turmoil had left its mark on all the co-hosts' careers, even if no one publicly held Sunny responsible for the show's cancellation. Sarah Haynes, the quiet observer, retreated into her own life, focusing on family and personal pursuits. What had once been a dominant force in daytime television had become a cautionary tale. As the dust settled, questions lingered about Sunny's ability to rebound and whether she, or The View itself, could ever regain its former prominence. Offers for new opportunities trickled in, but studios were wary, reluctant to risk another high-profile media controversy. The show's abrupt end sparked reflection across the industry. Its daring approach, tackling politics head-on, taking playful jabs at powerful figures, and embracing unfiltered discussion, had drawn a loyal audience hungry for genuine conversation, but it had also brought the hosts perilously close to legal danger. The key question remained: had The View's downfall set a chilling precedent for daytime television, forcing future programs to rein in bold commentary to avoid litigation? Analysts and commentators eagerly dissected every angle on talk radio and news websites, fascinated by a drama that had captivated audiences while simultaneously reshaping the landscape of daytime talk shows. Many argued that The View's cancellation was almost inevitable, given its reliance on controversy. Any talk show that encourages unrestrained critique of high-profile figures risks legal action, particularly in today's litigious climate. Others saw this as an exceptional case. Although The View had survived close calls in the past, it faced a plaintiff determined and well-resourced enough to see the case through to the end. For loyal viewers, the show's demise marked the loss of more than just a program. Originally designed to bring together women from multiple generations to discuss everything from pop culture to major political issues, The View had evolved into a ratings powerhouse, a cultural touchstone in daytime television. While other programs tried to occupy similar spaces, none matched the show's legacy or longevity, leaving a noticeable void in midday broadcasting. Legal experts reminded the public that defamation claims carry strict requirements. Plaintiffs must prove that the statements were false and damaging, and that the defendant knew they were false or acted with malice. Major publications weighed in with cautionary pieces, highlighting the precarious position of talk shows that blur the line between commentary and reporting. Ultimately, it was up to the courts to determine whether Sunny Hostin's impassioned words crossed that threshold, despite the fact that viewers were riveted by the unfolding drama. From the first hint of legal threats to the network's final decision to pull the plug, The View's cancellation, driven by high-profile litigation, stood as one of the most dramatic moments in modern television history. As the saga unfolded through a whirlwind of speculation, insider reports, and behind-the-scenes chatter, it became a stark reminder of the fragile line between entertainment, opinion, and the law. When the cameras abruptly went dark on a national stage, it was more than the loss of a beloved daytime show. It marked the sudden disappearance of a cultural institution that had shaped conversations for years. Co-hosts went their separate ways, staff departed, and Sunny Hostin, along with many of her colleagues, may never fully recover from the upheaval caused by The View's demise. The defamation lawsuit serves as a sobering illustration of how even the most established programs can be undone by a single legal challenge backed by powerful individuals. Though the set now sits empty and silent, the cancellation will be remembered as a pivotal moment in media history. It highlighted the difficult balance between fostering open, candid discussion and protecting a show from the legal risks that arise when high-profile figures take offense. Even today, viewers recall the once bright circular set, now overshadowed by the sobering knowledge of the show's abrupt end. The final chapter came as unexpectedly as the lawsuit itself, leaving the legacy of this legendary program a topic of ongoing debate. Its closure will stand as a cautionary tale about the delicate act of pushing boundaries while navigating the perils of live television. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you want more stories like this. See you in the next one.